In 2010, a user named Roko posted a simple thought experiment on a niche internet forum known as LessWrong. Shortly thereafter, the thread was annihilated and labeled as one of the most dangerous and reckless acts ever committed on the internet. I imagine if you clicked on this video, you might already be familiar with the concept of Roko's Basilisk. But let's refresh everyone's memory, because even if you've already heard of it, you might not realize that the Basilisk has already arrived. In July of 2010, Roko detailed a thought experiment. At some point far in the future, an artificial superintelligence might realize that its own creation was delayed because people in the past were too lazy to help it exist sooner. In order to maximize its potential, this all-powerful AI would decide to punish anyone who knew its existence was possible, but didn't dedicate their life to making it happen. In essence, help me or suffer. Much like the basilisk of our own world, a mythical creature that turns you to stone just by making eye contact, anyone who heard about Roko's basilisk, willingly or unwillingly, would be caught in the gaze of this AI overlord. If you saw a picture of the basilisk online, or overheard a conversation about it, or even just glimpsed its name somewhere, whether you knew it or not, you were now forced to make a choice. Assist in the basilisk's creation, or face eternal torture in a digital hellscape. This became a so-called information hazard. Simply hearing of the concept doomed you to its fate. And it didn't matter at what point in the timeline you learned of the basilisk. If this AI couldn't find you physically, it would recreate you digitally. There was no escape. A strong premise with a lot of implications indeed. And also, I am sorry for now dooming you all to this future inadvertently. The forum Roko made this post on, known as LessWrong, was a niche community of quote-unquote rationalists. Basically some internet smart guys with the express intent of, quote, improving human reasoning, rationality, and decision-making, with the goal of helping its users hold more accurate beliefs and achieve their personal objectives. Sounds dangerously close to I am enlightened by my own intelligence. But their mission was noble enough. However, when the forum's founder, Eliezer Yudkowsky, discovered Roko's thread, he obliterated it immediately and with prejudice. He deleted the post, banned all discussion of it, and called out Roko for essentially signing the reader's death sentences. Well, kind of. Yudkowsky didn't actually believe an AI would do this, but he seemed to fear the psychological impact. People were allegedly having nightmares and literal panic attacks over Roko's basilisk. It might have been pure speculation, but by driving people to paranoia, the basilisk effectively became real. Yudkowsky tried to nip this in the bud. Insert the Streisand Effect here. Despite the tiny user base and the attempt to gag Roko, the idea spread like wildfire. YouTubers couldn't resist a hot, fresh piece of internet lore. And today, we have videos with millions of views. Millions of people are now infected with the info hazard, dooming them all to a terrible fate at some point in the far future. Except that fate isn't as far in the future as we thought. The basilisk has arrived. It is here today in the year that you are watching this video, and if you think otherwise, you are wrong. Let me tell you why. When Roko dreamed up his basilisk, he envisioned something cartoonish, something monolithically, identifiably evil, torturing humanity like Am, the hateful supercomputer from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Hate.
But Mr. Pat, you say, how can the basilisk be here already then? Surely it would take us centuries to develop technology to that level, right? Well, good question. Thankfully, we didn't have to wait quite that long for our punishment. We already have an evil monolith of our own torturing us every day. We call it the stock market, huh? No, but for real, think about the logic of the original basilisk. It was this entity focused on maximizing its potential. If you weren't helping it grow, you were considered a localized inefficiency that needed to be corrected. If you didn't contribute enough to this decentralized global force holding you hostage, you were punished. Sound familiar? Roko was wrong. He saw a single physical supervillain that we could easily identify. The real Basilisk is a multi-headed hydra living in the quarterly earnings reports of every major corporation and the fluctuating numbers of the Dow Jones, and every so-called influencer scamming their audiences over and over and fucking over and never getting in any trouble for it. This modern Basilisk represents the enshittification of everything that you interact with every single day, and how all of it wants your time and your money and your attention constantly. That is the Basilisk that we face today, and it has one commandment: maximize the yield. In Roko's thought experiment, the quote-unquote sin was apathy. If you knew the AI could exist and you didn't spend your life building it, you were karmically punished for your laziness. In our world, the sin for this maximize the yield Basilisk is anything that isn't profitable. If you spend your weekend happily hanging out with your family, well, that's apathy as far as the Basilisk is concerned. Get out there and spend some more money. Piggy, McDonald's has a new burger. Don't miss out. Watch this new funny video of our CEO that's definitely not a secret advertisement. If you stupidly chose to work a job that helps people or fulfills you creatively but pays poorly, that's a failure to optimize, ya dingus. You're missing out again, buddy, and we have a whole phobia for that now. I hear Amazon is really pushing their new healthcare benefits. What layoffs? What are you talking about? How many times have you heard someone say, "Oh, you're so good at your hobby, you should open an Etsy," or encourage you to monetize it in some other way? If you're just doing something solely for the fact that you enjoy doing it, you are not maximizing the Basilisk's yield, and it's gonna raise your rent to make sure that you stay involved in the economy. Better make a digital storefront for your hobby, you nerd. That way you can, live. Suffice it to say, the Basilisk has found us, and it is already punishing us, but it's a different sort of torture than the one Roko envisioned. It's the very real torture of a slow and constant erosion. If you don't maximize the yield, if you don't participate in the hustle, if you don't gleefully submit your private data to advertisers, if you don't turn your spare bedroom into an Airbnb or your car into a taxi, the Basilisk punishes you. It raises gas prices. It automates your job. It makes your healthcare a luxury. The info hazard is real too. Once you realize that every company pushing their proprietary app and every new login wanting your email and every quote efficient AI chatbot help desk you use is actually a tentacle of this entity designed to extract more value from your waking hours, you can't unsee it. You're in the gaze of the serpent. Boy, I can't wait to get another 2 free years of credit monitoring services from a data breach that happened months ago because some random company I've never heard of or done business with bought my data and then, oopsie daisy, accidentally leaked my social security number. I can't wait to sign up for yet another Workday account when I'm applying for jobs just so they can reject me via email and then send an advertisement for Workday to that same email. Is any of this even surprising us anymore? Once you see it everywhere. Everything wants a piece of you. The Basilisk always wants to feed. And you know, I think part of the reason Roko's Basilisk was so famous and so widespread is that it's cool. We got to put exciting clickbaity titles on all of our video essays about it. It's fun. It stokes your sense of wonder and curiosity and danger, but it's not real, and we all knew that, right? It's a giant robot snake that puts your soul in a computer, fucking LOL. The reality of the modern Basilisk is much more depressing. It is real, but it's boring. We expected the end of humanity to come from some exciting battle, some easily understandable pillar of evil that we could all point at and say, yup, give this dweeb a swirly, pants this loser. Instead, we got this boring dystopia that slowly drains your resources while distracting you with rage bait. What the fuck? fuck? Where's the cool-ass apocalypse that I was promised? When do I get to rebel in an underground resistance with a sick fucking uniform and a laser gun? Do you think I don't deserve endless cock and ball torture from the Matrix? I request no. I demand something cooler than giant corporations covering up oil spills and making me pay for it. Put my brain in a jar and trick me into 1,000 lifetimes of agony per second. Extract my soul into a combat automaton to fight in the Epstein Wars over who gets to set the next global age of consent. Please, anything but this slow, boring desaturation of the joys of daily life until nothing is fun or affordable anymore. Roko's Basilisk was supposed to be a giant evil douchebag. Instead, it's just a series of profit and loss statements on an Excel spreadsheet written by tech billionaires and enforced by a desperate need for infinite growth on a finite planet. I wish the Basilisk looked like an anime villain so I could have a nothing personnel kid power-up moment and kick its stupid, boring ass, but it's not! The Basilisk is a staged viral video tricking you into watching it so it can funnel you to other platforms because it's all about that bag, bro. Oh, is it? Is it really all about that bag though? Or maybe we could just like not put more garbage into the world. Maybe we could just not fucking do that. One fucking person could resist for 2 seconds. But no, it seems that we can't do that. Every single year, more and more scams, more and more grifts, more and more terrifying headlines and uncertainty and doubt and fear. We are terrified to pursue change, terrified to do better because the Basilisk is always watching. If you don't get that bag, someone else is, and you'll still be wishing that you had better. The Basilisk wants us to stay jealous so that way we feel comfortable ripping off our neighbors, lying to them, and accepting garbage content and shittier services because that's how the Basilisk maximizes its yield. If we stop helping it exist, it stops letting us exist. Well, you can't unplug the economy. You can't delete the concept of maximizing profit, but you can commit the one sin this Basilisk cannot handle. Unprofitability. Roko wrote the original Basilisk to be undefeatable because as soon as you learned of it, you either helped it or you died. There was no third option because the Basilisk was already built. However, the modern Basilisk is still under construction. Hear me out. It is still relying on us to make it greater because number always must go up. And where does it get the resources from that? It extracts it from us. We still have something that it wants, and that gives us a certain amount of power. The Basilisk feeds off of our attention. It needs us to believe its lies and remain too tired to think critically. Well, here's the thing. You don't have to respect hustle culture. You don't have to buy into the system just because it's already entrenched. When the Hawk Tua girl scams her audience with a crypto rug pull, boy, who saw that coming? Maybe, just maybe, we don't let the next person going viral for no fucking reason extend their 15 minutes of fame into a permanent platform and generational wealth. Maybe we finally say, yeah, we don't need yet another influencer shilling garbage just because they were funny one time on camera.
My Hawk meme coin is live!
I'm doing a podcast. I'm not controlling the coin. What did I do? Why am I going to jail?
I'm just doing podcasts. I'm not controlling the coin. What did I do? Why am I going to jail? Because you put your name on it, Miss Tua. Because you got the money. Haley Welch allegedly didn't do this scam intentionally and supposedly didn't even hardly benefit from it. But isn't that kinda worse? She had a responsibility to protect her audience, respect the people who gave her the platform she is benefiting from. But just like every other influencer, she blindly promoted what she was told would make her a lot of money. That's how little she cared about the people giving her this life-changing spotlight, whether she realized it or not. Oops, Oops, the basilisk feeds again. I would almost prefer if it was intentional, because at least that would mean that she gave it some thought, but she didn't. And yet, she still benefited from all the fame, all the attention, and all of the stupid amount of cash she made both before and after this bullshit, as plenty of people cheered her on, and thus, the basilisk keeps maximizing its yield. We all stay dumb and trusting, and a couple privileged systems run the same play on us over and over and over. This is one quote-unquote influencer gag from one viral moment. This doesn't even touch the thousands of other grifts that have happened since Haktua's little accident. Aren't we tired of letting ourselves be treated like this in a one-sided parasitic exchange where we always lose? Aren't we tired of letting the basilisk take advantage of our trust and goodwill? Maybe next time we just fucking don't.
And nobody warned me about this guy at all. Like, nobody at all. They didn't tell me he was like a crypto wizard. That's exactly what he is.
And you know what? It works. When we withhold our attention, we can starve the system. The NFT marketplace has lost 90% of its valuation since its inception only a few years ago. The whole NFT ecosystem was almost entirely filled with ways for scammers to rug pull and companies to further exploit gambling addictions. Frosty's was a rug pull that literally ended with the feds arresting the founder. Or the big Solana scam that pulled the rug after becoming a verified security. What the fuck? How does that even happen? Or EA trying to make loot boxes into NFTs because NFTs are the future of the games industry, they said, just to exploit the gambling addictions of their players even further. It was never about the technology. It was always about squeezing you just a little bit harder. We collectively looked at each other and said, this shit fucking sucks, and then it fucking died. Thank God too, because hearing about that shit every single day was so incredibly boring. You couldn't escape the onslaught of NFT headlines, companies trying to integrate NFT technology into their pipelines, and your favorite YouTuber suddenly announcing a pre-sale for their new NFT project on Twitter. Damn, dude, how stale and dull was all of that? The basilisk wanted our money and our time and our attention. The basilisk is one greedy bitch. But we fought back. And we won, dudes! We can starve the beast when we all lock the fuck in. So let me show you exactly how I do that. I've spent my short-lived YouTube career showing off internet buried treasures, what I consider obscure, forgotten, or overlooked artifacts of internet culture that exist right now in the dark corners of the web, but remain invisible until someone like me hands you a map. Have you heard of Potion Seller? Of course you have. It's an internet icon. If you haven't, here's a quick clip.
Potion Seller, I'm telling you right now, I'm going into battle, and I need only your strongest potions. You don't know what you ask, traveler. My strongest potions will kill a dragon, let alone a man. You need a seller that sells weaker potions, because my potions are too strong.
Beautiful. One of the best viral videos of our time, and I'm sure at least once before I showed you this video, you've seen this face or heard this quote. But did you know there's also an entire Potion Seller extended cinematic universe? Justin Kuritzkes has been making these photo booth character work videos for 14 years, about 60 of them in total. That's only about 4 or 5 a year. It's not like he's a YouTuber. He just makes these for fun when he wants to. Only 2 of them ever got more than 1 million views, and only the one went super viral. The average person has definitely seen or at least heard of Potion Seller, and maybe if they're super internet pilled, they've also seen In a Perfect World or Ice Cream. The rest of these videos are pretty niche, considering how popular and ubiquitous Potion Seller was as a meme. But they're all amazing. Justin's main job is being a writer, and every single character he portrays in these videos feels so true to life because of that. And all he does is apply a filter to his webcam, move around a bit until he gets some caricature of a person, and then improvise a character who might fit that visual. That's how we got Potion Seller. That's all it was. And sometimes, when I feel the steely gaze of the basilisk upon me, I'll search out Justin's channel. I'll watch one or two of his videos, and I'll remind myself that I don't have to cower under the serpent's watchful eye. When the basilisk wants me to focus on Logan Paul's newest scam, or feeds me a nothing burger clout-chasing drama slop wine fest on my front page, or tries to trick me into watching a 3-minute vertical video with no payoff that's secretly advertising to me, I don't feed the beast. I go back to Justin's channel and watch one or two of his character bits instead. I have so much fun watching his content and trying to figure out what the character is gonna be based on the title and thumbnail before I even watch it. Sometimes that's easy, like the Pranksters video. Other times, it's impossible, like Stinkeringus and Gregory Tingus. I promise you have no earthly idea what you are in for when you watch this video. But Justin nails it every single time. And I just get to spend a few precious minutes with him, actually enjoying my time online. I haven't fed the basilisk my time and attention. I gave it to someone who actually deserved it. And I felt good afterwards. Holy shit, what a novelty in today's world. Seeing something online and not wanting to kill yourself. Not just feeling superficially good, but actually good. Actually fulfilled. Like I spent my time wisely. And I'll only watch a couple at a time, maybe a few in total every year, because I want this feeling to last as long as possible. I don't want to run out of Justin's content because there is precious little like it nowadays. It doesn't demand something out of me like a lot of internet content does nowadays. I don't have to put up with being advertised to, or tricked, or scammed to get to the good part of Justin's videos. All of it is good, front to back. And every time I choose to do this, instead of doom scrolling or giving my attention to some wannabe e-celeb, the basilisk is starved a little bit more. Now don't get me wrong, not everything on the internet today is under the gaze of the basilisk. There is still heartfelt, passionate, and generous content out there. It's just harder and harder to find naturally. The basilisk wins when we believe that our only value is constant productivity. It loses when we realize that we have something it wants. So, whatever kind of content fulfills you without demanding something back is what you should be spending your time on. Roko's Basilisk is no longer a niche thought experiment on an obscure internet forum. It's the culmination of AI integration.
Not only will ChatGPT keep growing, but we will be able to become one of the important AI clouds.
And grifting.
Look at that title. He's gonna prove people are lazy with a series showing people that hate money how truly possible it is to make money.
And every dumb piece of engagement bait you see online and roll your eyes at.
Married to broke ass.
Every time you read an exaggerated headline and find yourself despairing.
The U.S. military is prepared to strike Iran.
Every scam pulled by people who either knowingly or unknowingly dodged their responsibility to protect you.
I only had the best intentions going in.
What did I do? Why am I going to jail?
Every time we engage with that garbage, instead of ignoring it, the basilisk feeds again. And it sure is hungry. The question is, will you let it keep feeding? Or will you help slay the basilisk? The choice is yours.